What is your differential right now in equities? What is the new thing or the changeable thing as you go into Q4 on the Goldman Sachs equity call?
When we look at equities, look, I think that to us, the question of what are the key themes driving the market are essential. When I look across our large remit of portfolios, what really fascinates me is that when we've come on a theme, when we've found something related to an underlying activity in the market, we are driving persistent alpha. I'll give you a great example. Millennials. You hear millennials way too much already, I know, but in the aggregate, right, they're controlling more wealth in terms of their income for any generation. And given that wealth, how they spend it matters. So targeting a portfolio, for example, as we have on millennials, has become a first quartile top driver of alpha. Those are the kind of things that will make a difference in equities.
But Sheila, how many people want to go to cash? How much, questions do you have to field along that?
It's definitely a question. I actually think it's quieted down in September versus over the summer. But if you look at the year-long flows, say, for example, in ETFs, almost $500 million into fixed income, almost $500 million into cash, about $250 billion out of equities. So people already have made some moves to cash. I don't know how much more of that we'll see.
I mean, Sheila, when we look at the review of Q4, this huge move in interest rates. There was a great chart yesterday. I think Zero Hedge did a Bloomberg chart of equities really holding on and the yield coming in dramatically. To be clear here, do you look for a yield backup or sustained lower yields?
It seems to us, from a perspective of where do we see central banks moving or what can happen, that we are in a sustained environment, that we're a bit stuck here. Now, whether that ends up good or not, to some extent depends on that question of growth that I mentioned. Do we see continued tighter labor markets? Do we see continued benign inflation? That balance may tip the edge for the central bankers, and that definitely will weigh on where fixed income heads from here.